Everyone has a bright light inside of them that deserves to be seen by the world. That's why it's time to shine the light on the extraordinary, who are accomplishing phenomenal things. This is the Shine Out Loud Show.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Shine Out Loud Show with me, Lillian Obogo. Oh my God, this is actually the last show in this particular season and the last live show in this season. I am so thrilled and excited that I have the incredible, the dynamic, multi-talented, very hard-working woman in the media, Leah Charles-King. Now, I cannot begin to tell you how excited I am to interview this woman. Leah.
Hello.
How are you?
I am so happy to be here. Thank you for having me on. It's been a long time coming, and I've been seeing all what you're doing, and you're doing a wicked job. So it's my pleasure to be here tonight.
Oh, thank you. So, yes, okay, first and foremost, I have to do my fangirl moment. I totally adore this woman. This woman is just so skilled. First and foremost, she's a presenter, long-standing presenter, first female black presenter, continued presenter on CITV. And not only that, she's a founder creator of the Red Carpet Academy. She's not only that, she is a coach and mentor, and I have the pleasure of calling her a friend. And she is one woman who can do a put down with a smile that makes you go, wow, I want to be her when I grow up. So yes, I have to do my fan moment. Oh, Leah, you know how much I adore you.
Thank you, Lillian. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Out of context, that sentence sounded very funny. You know, she could do the best put down with a smile. In context to that, anyone who's listening is, you know, we've all been there where you might have a really testing client or visitor, or, you know, somebody that is sort of approaching you but are not very nice and don't have a very nice energy about them. And basically, they want to try and destroy you in that moment. And I've learned over the years that you can't let these kind of people get to you. And I've learned how to just brush it off, water off a duck's back, but also stand up for myself in the nicest way that I possibly can in that moment, even if I'm not thinking it, you know, so that's what you witnessed that time. But yes.
She's using fancy words to describe this. I would love to describe this scenario, but we will leave this story for another time. I'll save that story, and I'll save that with next to the bitch Leah story, which is a different story, people. Trust me.
Really? What story is that? She's not making me sound very good, guys.
No. You know the story we're talking about, but we'll get into that story. That story is coming. Now,
Okay,
I've described you as a presenter, broadcaster, TV and radio. You are also a coach and the founder of Red Carpet Academy. So let's start with, what is the Red Carpet Academy?
Okay, so the Red Carpet Academy basically refines your on-camera presence so you can present and promote and sell your business, your product, or your service to camera. So, for example, if you're an author, you're a coach, you're a leader, you're a public speaker, you are, you know, the CEO or the brand of your business. Well, we've all noticed that now online video and live streaming is definitely the way to go with our businesses. If you don't have an online presence these days, then you're nothing. Like, life seems to depend on it now. And so within the next 3 years, over 80% of online content will be video. It means that more and more people are watching online video than traditional TV, which means that the likes of you and I can be making our very own content just like this. Exactly. And it could go to wider audiences around the world. So in short, I help you learn how to present camera like me, basically, like someone who's been in the industry for 20 years and more. So that's me.
Okay, so, you know, the Red Carpet Academy, and just so that I'm actually one of your students, and I absolutely adore the program and adore the work that you do, because it's more than just, because when people hear it, it's thinking about, oh, it's about presenting to screen, it's about being a TV host, it's about doing all of that, but we know it's so much more. It's about that whole piece about taking that center stage and being able to present at work, being able to have that conversation, being able to, do that best man speech. It's a really powerful work. And I look at the work that you do, and it's coaching and it's training. It's all of that wrapped around this whole handle of being your best self. And this is just one aspect of one of the things that we're going to talk about with you today, because we're looking at taking up center stage in your own life and also about breaking glass ceilings. And I think that there's another part of you that we've yet to mention that actually ties into that quite well, because you have a documentary in the making called Invisible Woman. So tell us about that.
Okay, so Invisible Women, that came about a time where I'd won a Wise Woman Award for Best Presenter. And I was in this room filled with amazing women of colour, many whom were big players or just doing amazing things. They're just average people like you and I doing amazing things in their communities. And I just thought, why do I not know any of these people? This is ridiculous. Why do we not, as women of colour, not have a platform where we could be seen more, where we could be heard more? Why have I just so happened to stumble upon this event and be meeting these amazing women? And I just wanted to kind of create some kind of platform visually with the media, which obviously as a TV presenter and a producer, I decided to start making a documentary. And the documentary is basically a quest of finding, is there a lack of women of colour in visible parts of society, whether it's in business, whether it's in sport, music, the arts, community, it could be anything really. And it was a mixture of famous faces, but also unsung heroes within the community. So you can actually see a preview of that if you go to invisiblewomenofficial.com. So that's invisiblewomenofficial.com. There's a preview there. But the thing is, Lillian, I was doing that and I was doing it out of, the best part of my heart, because I want to create a platform for women. I want us to all, shine. And it was about the women. It wasn't about me. And so I put together little resources that I had at the time and I started this documentary. But we ran out of the resources. It costs. And we were doing it guerrilla style. We wasn't doing it like all the bells and whistles. We were making a really slick production on a shoestring. And unfortunately, we ran out of budget for it. And so I decided, right, okay, let me crowdfund. Let me reach out to these same women within the community that I'm trying to showcase.
Right. And
hopefully, if everyone sort of puts in, then we can create a real legacy piece. And part of the crowdfunding, they would get things, different incentives, like it could be an associate producer credit, or it could have been, to have the merchandise, or it could have been to come to the celebrity screening of it. But, Lillian, after all my hard work and efforts, do you know, not one of these people put a pound in to that project. And so the project came to a halt. And so it was ironic and quite disheartening that the same women I was trying to showcase and bring a light and shine a light onto were also the same women that were not supporting the movement. But what was even more interesting was that these same women, when I would approach them, their first thing would be, I want to be featured. I want my face to be on there. And if it's not, then I won't necessarily support it anyway.
Right.
And so that was the irony of the whole piece. And it did leave a bitter taste in my mouth for actually quite a few years, that it's something that I haven't completed, but I will. I will. So it's something we're picking back up this year. We're back in pre-production for it. And I hope to finish it. And I think a lot has changed. And hopefully I am now positioned around many more amazing women like yourself, who I know would jump on board that and support it. And it's a legacy piece, I think, for all of us that I would definitely complete. So do look at the preview, invisiblewomenofficial.com, and tell me what you think.
Okay, so you've been asked to take a look, and once you take a look, go back, feedback to Leah, feedback to myself on the Shine Out Loud show. You know where to find us on Twitter and Instagram. We want to hear from you. Now, Leah, could it be, sometimes we look at these projects and we think, why didn't they happen at that time? There's so many reasons, and I think sometimes there's also this part of where we want to be featured, but we are still playing this whole, do I really want to be in the spotlight? And what is it about women, especially women of color, actively not stepping up to that center stage?
You see, Lillian, I've got really mixed feelings about this. I think on one side, it's fantastic that women are now saying, I could do this, I can shine in the spotlight, I can stand on center stage, now is my time. And I'm all for that. As you know, I'm a female advocate, I'm an activist. It's something I do. I mentor young women in the media, and I give them opportunities within my own business so that they can stand out from the crowd, particularly women of color. So I think it's great that as women, we are now doing that more and more. On the flip side to it, though, there's a dark and ugly side to it where we're doing it, but for the wrong reasons.
Okay.
We are doing it because of profile. We want to be famous. We want people to look at us. We want to sell rather than the value and what you can provide for others, the service that you can provide for others. And so what I'm finding is you have a good portion of people that are doing it from the heart, like you and I, who want to make a change in the world. And then you were doing others who are literally either just doing it for, for money, right, which I feel there's just so far you can go. We all need money, obviously. We all have businesses. We want the world has to go round. But at the same time, we can't do something that is service-based, but it's really about us. And I find that there's a lot of that going on at the moment. So it's just striking that balance, really, of those who are really coming from that heart-centered place and really want to make a change versus those who just want the spotlight for themselves and they use it. They create a platform just to promote themselves rather than helping others.
Well, you see, and I agree with you. There's so many, I think because we live in that whole Facebook era, Instagram era, it's sometimes the famous for being famous. And you made a very important point about the service that you provide. So if you're taking center stage and showing up, you need to provide a service and be of value.
Absolutely.
Now, you see, we've already jumped into this, but let's go back to the very, very beginning. How did you become the woman you are today? How did you get started in the media?
Oh, gosh. I actually started off as a child actress. I was really young. And then I got into a girl band in the 90s. With my two other cousins. We were singing at a family party, kind of got discovered, and we were literally kids. We were like 12. And subsequently, we then went into rehearsals. We got signed to Sony Music years later after a lot of sacrifice and hard work. And I'm skimming over this story and I make it sound so easy, but you can imagine as a teenager, that's not easy. You're actually sacrificing a lot because you want to be playing out with your friends. You want to be at certain events. You want to be doing certain things. But actually now, this little recreational thing has become quite serious, And so it's like, oh, we're actually working. What do you mean we have to miss this and we can't play out with our friends? We've got to rehearse. So it was very much a Jackson 5 type thing. But we did have success. We got signed. We had a major record deal with Sony Music. We had a few songs in the charts and, had the top 20 hit, etc. Did amazing things. But then it all came crashing down when we lost our record deal.
Right.
So there I was on the scrap heap, but yet still a teenager, feeling I was on the scrap heap, and I fell into a real deep depression because I put all my life into my music from such a young age. And you're taught when you're younger, at least I was, that work hard, it will come back to you. If you work hard, that is what is going to make you successful.
Exactly.
Now, we were living in an age then where there was no internet, no social media. If you became a celebrity, it's because you worked hard at something and that's what you became recognized as. The industry has totally changed now. But I basically, from that real depression, from a year of in the wilderness, not knowing what to do, where to go, I remember literally being very depressed and being at home. And I saw this CITV promo that kept popping up saying, we're looking for new presenters. And presenting is something I always wanted to do, from appearing on MTV and ITV and all these different places when we were promoting our singles when I was in the band. I'd look at the presenters and go, gosh, your job is really cool.
Okay.
But obviously I'm a singer. I'm cool anyway, you know, that type of thing. So when the group ended, presenting was a natural thing that I wanted to go into. Again, in those days, nobody wanted to be a presenter. So that was cool for me. It wasn't something that was saturated. People wanted to be an actor or a singer. And so how do I now become a TV presenter? I have no skills. I don't know the first thing about getting into TV. This is like a foreign land to me. And many people think because I was in music, I got headhunted into TV. No, I didn't. When we got dropped from our record label, I was depressed for a year, sat in the house, ashamed to leave.
Oh, wow.
I went and got a job in a call center because I had to make ends meet. And bearing in mind that I still have billboard posters out on the streets of me and my girl band, and yet I'm working now in a call center for Barclays Bank and Weight Watchers and all the rest of it. It was really, really difficult. And the people I'm working with are like, but you're famous. You're in the girl band. I brought your single. I saw you live last week. And it's like, this is making my depression worse. But,
Okay.
you know, you keep a face on things, don't you, really?
Of course.
And I managed to get a show reel together. And I saw this ad going out for CITV. And, you know, Lillian, I almost didn't send my show reel in. And that's the truth. I saw this promo going for about 2 months. And my confidence was at an all-time low. I felt ashamed, obviously, because, hey, I'm famous. I'm in a girl band. I'm selling singles. I'm touring with Lionel Richie in the arenas. And I'm doing backing vocals for George Michael. And I'm doing all these amazing things. And then suddenly I'm in a call center. And now the thought of making a fool of myself again by putting myself out there, I was just so scared. So I put it off. And then on the very last day, I said, you know what? Forget it. I picked myself up. I remember going to that post box and I remember just sending the tape and just going, whatever. I sent the tape. And within weeks, I then got a call saying that I'd been shortlisted. And I auditioned amongst hundreds of applicants all across the UK. We did like a whole week full of intensive auditions as well. And then it went to the kids for a viewer vote. So we went all of that. And I was voted in by a landslide. And from there, the rest is history, as they say. But that really was the start of my story almost 20 years ago. And since then, I've been through so many highs and lows. It's unbelievable. And a lot of that story includes, you know, homelessness. It includes being in deep debt. It includes depression. It includes, you know, just adversity, racism, you name it. I have gone through it in this time, but that has all led me to the Red Carpet Academy as well. So there's a lot going on, but the story continues.
And you know what? That's a legendary story because there's more to that story. But you're trying to escape without telling us the name of this girl band. You have to share it.
You know what? Trust you to pick up on that because there was a moment then I went to say it and then I just went, nah, she hasn't asked. But I was in a girl band called Cliche in the 90s, really rubbish name. But remember, we were 12 when we started the band and we just thought it sounds like a nice name. We had no idea what it meant. We spelt it Kleshay because we thought that would be really clever and ironic because, you know, if we spell it that way, it means we're not a cliche. Yeah, exactly. So that's what we called ourselves. And I remember Sony begging us to change our name just before we released our first single. But that name was now in our blood and we just couldn't think of anything else. So we went with it. Right. But like 25 years on or something like that, 20 plus years on, I'm like, gosh, I really wish we thought of another name. I cannot stand saying that name, honestly.
So if we go to YouTube, we're going to find some videos of Cliche.
You will. You will find our music videos on there. And actually, I'm really proud of them. I'm really proud because when I look, I am this confident young woman. And although I'd already been through a lot, seen a lot, have done a lot, even at that young age, it's funny how there's so much more to the story since then. And all of those ups and downs really change you in a good way and a bad way. So when I look at that young teenager, it makes me feel proud. I have an out-of-body kind of experience. I don't look at it as me. I know it's me, but I just look at that person and go, good for you. You know, I could see that I was enjoying myself. I was just, and nobody could tell me anything. You know, nobody can knock my confidence in those days, Lillian. Now it's different, isn't it? As women, we now have to, we come across so many things that can break us just in a day, or that can change our mood or change the way we feel. Someone might say something that throws us off our entire week or month, and it will bother us more now as we get older. Whereas that teenager didn't give a damn. She really didn't. There was nothing you could tell her. She was doing it, she was loving it, and she was in charge. And I just look at her and I just have admiration for her. But you know, I still am obviously happy with my journey of now, but as you know, life throws you lemons. What do you do? I've been making lemonade now for many years.
I'm a fan of pie personally, but yeah, I get the point.
Like it. I like pie as well. Pie's good.
Yeah, lemon pie. Lemon meringue pie is the way to go. But you know, you see, Leah, one thing I really admire about you is your tenacity. And the fact is, you know, we both know this part to the story, but which I find really, really fascinating. You created the Red Carpet Academy. You started it from a hospital bed.
I did. Gosh, Lillian, you've done your research, girlfriend. So basically I had gone through another down phase in my career. You'd literally need hours with me, Lillian, to go through everything. So at another point in my long-standing career, I had another real down phase, and I was out of work again. I was really struggling. Again, it had a really adverse effect on my mental health. I've been through a lot. I was being bullied at a job I was doing, and it was just a really tough time. And so again, I took some time out, and at the same time I had to have quite a major operation. And during the operation was fine. It was the aftercare that was really bad, and I became very ill. I got an infection, you know, not a hospital infection or anything like that, but I got an infection, and it made me worse. I couldn't sit up. I had to have physio to teach me how to walk again. It was a tough time. I literally lost about a stone in 2 weeks. I wasn't eating, wasn't drinking. I had over 30 drips and, you know, injections and things like that in my veins, to the point where they were all collapsing. I mean, I went through hell, and I couldn't even imagine at that stage of even being better. It was just so horrible. And then one day I said to myself, do you know what? I've sod it. I'm in recovery now. I'm back home. And I'm like, this Red Carpet Academy idea that I had 7 years ago at that time, which I have not had the confidence to do anything about, that has been written in a book, that is in a drawer somewhere collecting dust, because I'm just so afraid to do anything with it. Maybe being afraid to fail, I don't know. Right. But so afraid, I've held on to it because I just didn't know what to do with it. And it was from that bed that I just went, I'm gonna go for it. Somebody grab my laptop, please, put it on my lap. And from my bed, I built the Red Carpet Academy website. I'd never done a website before. I didn't know anything about building websites. It wasn't the most beautiful website in the world, but it did me justice for the last 3 years, until we've just rebranded. Now we've got a beautiful, shiny one. But that's basically how it started. And it was at that point of me saying, yes, I'm going to do this for me, but also, yes, I'm going to do this for others. I've got all these skills. People keep asking me to share these skills. And the only reason why I'm not offering them is because I just feel unconfident in myself, which is rubbish, because I still have all this expertise. Whether I want to own it or not, I've still got all this expertise. And I just thought, there are other people going through this just like me. They want more confidence. They want to just know how to speak, how to communicate, how to do a pitch at work, how to try and pitch for new clients, or to, you know, public speak. All of these things that I can actually share my wisdom. And then all the things I've been through surely won't be in vain. Right. And I will also be helping other people to change their lives as well. And I just picked myself up and I said, now is the time. Let's do it. And so here we are.
Well, you know what? That is an incredible, incredible journey, and the fact that you did that in recovery, it's just something to be really, really proud of. So, yes, and I think this is the perfect time to go for our So Loud moment of the week. And I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to choose it this time. So, our So Loud moment is you, Leah Charles-King, because you are just exceptional. I mean, you start a business while you're in recovery yourself. All the journey, and you're very open and vocal about the journey that you've gone through. So, our So Loud moment is to you, and you deserve one of these.
Oh, nice. What is it? Is that a round of applause?
Yes.
Oh, right. I can hear it from here. Sorry. Thank you. Yay. Yay to me. Thank you so much. That's really cool. I was hoping it was going to be another award or something like that, but I'll take it.
Yeah, the award is coming. It's in the post. It's in the post.
I'm having a collection at the moment. I mean, I say that though, and I laugh because I say it in the nicest way because it blows my mind, Lily. And I'll be honest with you, all the things I've gone through, you know, even having producers say that I'm the best person for a job, but they won't give it to me because I'm black or that I'm a black female, you know, all the things that I have been through. Whenever I do receive an accolade or an award, it just blows my mind. I remember that person depressed, just thinking I might as well end it all because what's the point? What's the point of even living? I am beating my head against a brick wall. I'm trying to break through these glass ceilings. Nobody's letting me through. Nobody's denying my talent, but they're denying me work based upon my looks or my gender.
Right.
And these are things I can't change. So now, years later, to be, you know, I'll be winning my third award this year. Next month, I'll be winning a Star Award, which is awarded to 100 top women across the country across the UK, who are doing great things for people in society. And that is a great accolade. I don't even know who nominated me. I'm just like blown away.
Wow.
And then in March, I won a Divas of Colour Best Presenter Award, second year running. And then earlier that month, I won 2 Jackpot Presenter Awards, which were voted by the public. And I won Best Dressed and Best Diva, which of all my awards, just this year alone, because I've had a few before that, but Best Diva, I mean, come on. That, I think, is definitely my favourite award of the moment. So
and just in case you guys are thinking, wait, I know her voice from somewhere. No, it's not. I know her voice, and you're wondering why at 1:00 in the morning you're watching TV and you can't sleep. She is a sparkly one on Jackpot show, the 24/7 stuff. And I remember the first time I went to your classes, and I came home, I'm like, wait, that's her. That is her. And those dresses are sparkly, Leah. Those dresses are really, really sparkly.
I know. But that's the thing, right? When you sort of build a brand, it happens by accident. I'm known on Jackpot 24/7 for wearing sequin gowns, sequin dresses. And if I don't wear one now, the viewers kind of go, where's your sequins? What's going on? So it's just sort of built into a thing, which has now become part of my brand, which is quite nice, really. So I go on there and we play roulette every night on ITV, which is obviously one of the main channels in the UK. And I just have a really good time with the players. I really am just hanging out with a bunch of friends. And that's how I always see presenting. I'm always just speaking to that one person because it's being personable and it's being authentic. And I wouldn't do any job. I don't care what the money is. I don't care what the conditions are or the perks. I won't do any job where I'm not being authentic to me.
Right.
And so that's why I enjoy it, because they allow me to be myself. And the same with my radio show as well. They allow me just to be myself and to entertain the nation. And that's what I love doing.
Awesome. Now, let's come back into this. Now, we're talking about taking center stage. And sometimes, like we've mentioned, for women, it is a bit tasking and challenges. So what are the 2 things that women can do on a day-to-day basis, you know, the basic things that they can do to actually take center stage in their own lives?
Oh, wow. That's an interesting question. I mean, in which level, which dynamic are you talking about? In business? Are you talking about just in life in general?
let's go in life in general, because if you're not doing, we have this idea, how you do one thing is how you do everything. So sometimes you need the basics in life before you even start talking about business.
I completely agree. Taking center stage, I would say every day, really is believing in yourself. And I think that has to be the bottom line. When I wake up in the morning, the first thing you do is you wake up, and if you're anything like me, you get a whole list of things that just pop up in your mind, of tasks and chores and phone calls and emails and all the things that you've got to do for the day. But then there's sometimes that nagging part that just goes, I can't face it. Not today. I just can't do it. Or just quit. Or it's so difficult. You've been chasing that person for weeks, or you've been doing that, or you're always so willing and open and so giving so much value to others. And when is it going to be your break? When are you going to get that back? And I always have to say to myself every day, no, actually, believe in yourself. Own it. I know my journey. I know how hard I've worked. I know all the skills that I've developed based upon that hard work, and I need to own it. And what I used to do, Lillian, I used to dim my lights for other people. I was afraid to kind of say who I was and what I did, because I never wanted to appear like I was showing off. So now it's cool to call yourself a presenter. Many people could do that, because you have presenters who are now famous just for, say, having a YouTube channel, for example. So now I don't feel bad saying I'm a TV or radio presenter, whereas ask me a few years ago and I would have just downplayed it. If you said, what do you do? I would have said, oh, I'm just in the media, and would have changed subjects completely. But what I've learned is just to own who I am, because that represents my hard work and my contributions to the media industry as well as to other people. So really, I would say to people, when you wake up in that morning, every single day, it's your time to shine. You take center stage and just believe in yourself. Believe that whatever opportunity comes your way that day, that you are ready to handle it. I always say, Lord, please guide my thoughts, my words, and my actions. I always say another mantra, which is, I have not been given a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and of a sound mind, which is a biblical scripture. And that is something that is always stuck with me. I have not been given a spirit of fear. Do you know for me how big that is? Do you know? Because I've sat in darkened rooms many a times over the years, feeling fearful of life, fearful of people, fearful of my own career, just fearful. But then the next part of that scripture says, for you have not been given a spirit of fear, but of love, power, and of a sound mind. And when you're someone who has suffered with depression, to have that you have a sound mind, you have power, you have love, you can receive love, and you can give love. That's powerful in itself. And that's what I try to remember every single day, particularly on days where I'm feeling spiritually or mentally weak.
Right. Okay, so and that's really powerful. So you're saying that basically you hold a daily mantra, you formulate your list, and you actually focus on your end goals. And if I understand the last piece, is that you understand the words that you use to yourself, and you give yourself the permission to see your own greatness.
And only now, something I've learned only in the last few years, and more every day. But yeah, that's been a journey in itself. And you're right there to see my own greatness, because I'm very good at making others see their greatness and not showing myself that same level of care or respect. And I think maybe many of us do that in life. You know yourself, Lillian, you know me. You've seen how I pour into people, everything I have.
Yes.
And yet you've even told me yourself that I need to save some of that for me. And it's true. And this is a journey that I'm even on. But as you know, I keep it real. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to come on your show and make out like I've got everything all together and that I'm perfect and I'm living this amazing existence. Because no, I'm fighting just like the rest of us. I'm fighting to do good. I'm fighting to help others. I'm fighting to leave a legacy. I'm fighting to make sure there's, bread on my table, as they say. So we're always fighting every day, but we have to choose our battles and not beat up our own selves, which I used to do a lot.
You know what, Leah? I love that. I love the idea of your realness. Actually, not even the idea of it. I think the first time I met you, I was totally blown away by you because we know that story. But what I saw was someone who was really authentic and just didn't really care. And I came to your next class and I was really impressed with the level of energy that you give out in the room to others. And yes, I do say it and I will always say it. You need to save some for you because you give so much while you're standing at the front of the room. I'm like, oh God, this woman's going to crash one day if she doesn't stop.
You always tell me that. It's true. It's so true. And obviously, we don't want that to happen.
No.
So I would say to any listener as well that you do have to take time for yourself and do have to know when to switch off. And I think if you are a business owner, that is a difficult thing to do. And I'm finding that even now, that's probably one of the hardest parts of my journey right now is learning when to switch off, learning that the office isn't open for 18 to 20-hour days, which is what I pretty much have. So bearing in mind, I run the business during the day. Then I also run my workshops and my training courses. I mentor young people. I do, charity events. I host events. I also do radio on a Friday. And I also host Jackpot 24/7, which is on ITV late at night until 3 a.m. So sometimes, or most of the time, I'm surviving on 3 to 4 hours sleep. And I need to know when to cut off. I need to know when the line is and when to give myself a break and when to eat and when to chill. And this is a journey that even I'm learning. So I hope that anyone who's listening to me right now can sort of recognize what I'm saying. And maybe even if that resonates to you, just let's give each other those good vibes and just say, right, I'm going to look after myself more. And you say that to yourself. Let's look after ourselves just better than we are.
And that's really, really powerful. And I was going to ask you about self-care, but you've actually touched on that. So, yes, self-care is very, very important. Now, we know that you're a very, very determined woman. We know that you've gone through some really incredible trying times. But how do you keep going? What's the one thing that keeps you going moving forward?
Just generally?
Yes, in your business and in life. What keeps you moving forward?
Oh, gosh. Lillian, a couple of things. There's two folds to it. There's that self-sabotage part where that lives in fear of going, oh my gosh, I've done this for so long now. I have to make it a success. I have to. And it's almost fear that propels you, but then you realize that you can't live in fear. Mm-hmm. So you have that side of you going, you cannot be afraid. You have to own this. And so I basically batter that dark element every day. And I think I always will. That element that just says to me, quit is too hard, to that overriding element that goes, no, this is wonderful. And you are good at what you do and you can share it with others and you wouldn't have it any other way, Leah. And that's what I hear. And it's absolutely true. So I don't listen to that little voice in the background going, oh, what's the point? What's the point? It's so much hard work. Look, you're tired. But actually, there's that bigger part of me that just propels myself. And it's just really natural, Lillian. I can't explain where it comes from. It's something that I've known since a young age that I am destined for something.
Right.
And I don't still fully believe that I'm walking 100% in that purpose yet. And that is the truth. And I'll put that on record with you now. And I've put it on record various places over the years. And maybe one day these accounts will come into fruition. But I still don't fully believe that I'm walking 100% in my purpose. I feel that I've still got a long way to go, regardless that I've been in the industry over 35 years. I've been in the entertainment industry. I still feel like I've probably got another many, many years to go. So we'll see where the story unfolds, but every day it's a journey. Every day I choose to pick myself up and keep going. Every day it's a choice. And that's what I'll say to people. You open your eyes. God has given you another day. Thank him for that. And say, right, what's my choice today? Sink or swim? And I always choose swim. I'm a fighter. I will always fight and I will always choose swim.
You know what? I love that answer. And I love the fact that it's about really choice. We have choices. We have the choices to say, I'm going to lay down and pull the duvet over my head. I'm going to get up and I'm going to hustle for what I want. And
Hustle.
you know,
Absolutely.
some days we have to do that hustle. We have to get up. We have to show up. Now, what's the one thing that actually gets in the way of people being in front of the camera when they, we know that most people would rather be the one in a coffin than the one giving the eulogy. What is the one thing, and that's serious, that is really serious.
It's true. No, it is. Those are real statistics.
Yeah.
Most people actually have, a fear of speaking more than a fear of death. I mean, I could understand it. When I started on CITV, as you mentioned earlier, I got the job and then there was no training. So I had to learn on the job, which you would say, okay, that's fine. However, imagine if you were learning on the job in front of 5 million people every day or more, because the show went across the UK and it was an institution. So I'm saying 5 million, but probably a lot more in every single household. And there I was, just making a fool out of myself every day, doing the wrong things, saying the wrong things. So it's like, I don't know. I mean, I've lost my train of thought there, Lillian. What was the question?
The question is that we know people will rather be in a coffin than give a eulogy as a speech. What is the one thing that you can tell people today that will help them in some ways be able to actually stand up and give a quick presentation, stand up and say, I can do this, because I've seen you do this with people.
Yeah, I have. There is a process, though. There is a process that goes with it. I mean, first of all, what I do as a coach is I just give tough love. I always keep it real, but in the nicest way possible. And I just want people to get really good results really quickly. So when, like even the likes of yourself has come in the room and go, oh, I'm not sure if I could do this. I say, right, snap out of it. Come on, you're doing it. Because I come from the school of hard knocks, as I just said. And that's why I was telling that CITV story, to say I didn't have anybody coaching me. I literally had to learn on the job. I made a fool out of myself in front of millions every day. Whereas, look, if we keep things into perspective, we are not trying to find a cure for cancer. We are not trying to send a rocket to the moon. Okay, speaking is very fearful. I've been there. I've been petrified to open my mouth and speak in front of millions of people. But in the grand scheme of things, I was actually doing, if I could do it well, I'm doing better, for others as well. And it's always what you could bring for others. Yeah. So believe in yourself, first of all. Believe in yourself. That's going to be the first thing. And if you want to stand up there and you want to speak in front of others, and I would say get training. I would say invest in yourself. I think that's so important to do that, to invest in your worth, because the value is remembered long after the cost is forgotten. And there you have it. I was given an opportunity to go and work with BET in America, and their first thing was, well, you could come, but you're going to have to pay for your flights and accommodation. Now, this was at another time in my career when I've been out of work for a good few months, and I didn't have that money. But do you know what? I saw the value in the opportunity. So I borrowed money from everywhere, and I got myself out to LA, and I took that opportunity. And then many other doors opened with BET and many other people based upon that opportunity. But if I hadn't invested in myself, Lillian, if I hadn't invested in my skills, my self-belief, my worth, I would never have done it. And now that investment has paid itself off a million times over, hasn't it, really? Exactly. I didn't have those grants. I found those grants. It was like something like £3,000, which may as well have been 3 million at that stage, because I just didn't have it. I found it, and it is now paid for itself time and time and time again. So I always say to people, if you seriously want to do it, then be serious and invest in yourself. Don't expect something for nothing, because, you've got a burger budget, or you only want to spend a burger budget, should I say, then you will receive a burger service. If you want the best, then you have to be willing to invest in yourself to that level, because there's only one you. So invest in you. Put that money into you rather than on fancy restaurants or clothes or holidays, things that are going to come and go. How are you going to invest in yourself and your ability right now?
That's very powerful. And that's something that is actually tweetable, because we need to remember that we are our best investment first. We need to invest in ourselves on a daily basis.
Yes.
So I have a couple more questions. I'm looking at the time thinking, wow, where is it flying to? But here's my next question. Here's my next question. And really, I want to look at, for you, if you could give two ingredients for success as you define it, what would they be?
Ooh, your questions are hard. Very, very good questions.
You taught me well.
I have. I'm listening to you going, I've created a monster. My goodness. Really good questions, Lydia, I'm impressed. So the two tips for success. Wow. Success, number one, I keep coming back to it, and I feel like I'm just repeating myself, but it really is keep going. Keep going. You know, pressure builds diamonds. We hear that all the time, but it's the truth, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's the pressure of, the earth that creates these beautiful diamonds. And believe you me, pressure is what is going to propel you. It's what is going to make you even better at what you do, because it goes back to the choice of sink or swim. So one of my tips for success would be do not quit. Keep on going. Because it's at that moment where you want to quit could be your biggest breakthrough. It's like banging on a rock, isn't it? You may go, with a chisel and a hammer, bang, 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 bang. Nothing happens, nothing happens, nothing happens. It could be the 100th tap that rock then breaks in half. But you would never have known it because you may have quit at the 99th tap. So that would be my first tip. Would be tips for success. Don't quit. Keep going. You never know when your next breakthrough is going to be. And tip number 2 for success would be self-belief. Believe in yourself. You have to, because the world may not believe in you at many points in your life and your career. But if you listen to the world, then that could take you to a place where you just don't belong, basically. And you deserve to fly with eagles, not walk among chickens. And all these things I sort of say to myself. So really, it's self-belief. It's owning who you are, all the bells and whistles, all the faults, all the tweaks, all the little isms and schisms, just accepting you for you. Just be a good person. It must come back to you, surely. That's truly what I believe, Lillian. You put goodness out into the world, and surely, somewhere at some point, you will receive those blessings in return.
Okay, I like this. And yes, I do. I like those answers. And I definitely believe that. I definitely believe that what you put in the world comes back to you, because it's energy. Where energy goes, it flows, and it flows back, because that's the law of, I think, The Secret, whatever energy it is you believe in terms of reciprocity. So yes, I'm definitely a fan of that.
Absolutely.
So my next question, this is the next question. And, anybody listening to this can tell that you have an incredible depth of self-belief. You have an incredible strength in yourself, even with everything you've experienced. So here's my question. On an external basis, who would you say inspires you on a day-to-day basis out there?
Wow, what, just people in the public eye?
It could be anybody. It could be in your family. It could be your gorgeous mom who I've met.
Right. Wow. Many different things. Obviously, my family always inspire me. But my family, although they're my biggest cheerleaders, they're also, I don't want to say care the least, because of course they care, but they're not, they've seen me doing things for so many years that I think, one, they're a bit desensitized to it, if I'm really honest, between me and you. But also, they just kind of expect it of me now. So they're just always there to support, but they don't get into the whole hype of everything. And I quite like that, because it keeps me grounded. It keeps me down to earth. I don't go home and everyone goes, oh, here's Leah, the prodigal son. She's back. Isn't she wonderful? No, I'm just Leah. Nobody cares at home that I'm a multi-award winning TV and radio broadcaster with my own business. They don't care. I'm just their daughter, their sister, their aunt, their niece, their cousin. And that is the way it should be. So my family inspired me because it keeps me down to earth, which is a major USP of who I am, and my presenting technique as well. It's all about just being authentic. So definitely my family are responsible for that. And then also, I'm always inspired by just young people, young women who didn't have a role model. I didn't have a role model myself growing up. So it just meant that who did I look up to even as just a young Black woman? I didn't really have anyone in the public eye. So I'm inspired by all those young women that are coming up through the ranks that are or need other role models that look like them in mainstream media, whether it's online, on TV. Those are the people that inspire me because those are the people that I want to help. So it's a bit of family and a bit of just inspired by strangers, as weird as that may sound.
Well, you know what? It's not weird. And, our family love them. They are our biggest cheerleaders, and they have to be because they brought us into the world and they can't get rid of us. That's the truth.
That is the truth.
But no, in all seriousness, when you have people out there who you see are doing some incredible things, I mean, we may talk about millennials, but there's some millennial women who are doing the incredible. There's a young woman at 19 is going to change the face of technology. She's just won a grant for her book. She's doing some really incredible things. So when you look out there and see that, you just have to bow at their awesomeness.
Absolutely. I just think it's just amazing where you're seeing young people, particularly young women, that are just changing the world. And many people come to me and go, you really inspired me. I watched you growing up and now I'm in media myself, or I'm doing this. Or I remember meeting you 10 years ago and we had a conversation and you said something that changed my life. And I don't even remember these conversations. And it blows me away. It really genuinely blows me away that in some weird kind of way, I have had some kind of part in that. Does that make sense?
It does.
Again, it goes to the point of just saying that what I do is worthwhile. All the things that I have been through and go through is worthwhile, because if somebody could come to me 10 years later, 5 years later, a year later and said, you have directly affected my life in a positive way, then it just lets me know to keep on going, which goes back to what you say when you wake up in the morning. How do you take center stage? And I remember those people or those potential people and say, come on, you don't know whose life you're going to change today. So just get up and just do it.
Awesome. Leah, I love your answers. And we've just had one more question actually sent in to us via WhatsApp. And the question goes, what do you think about the advice, pursue your passion? Is it overrated, or is it still a valid advice to be given?
Pursue your passion.
Yes.
I definitely think you've got to pursue your passion. Look, I'm a risk taker. If I wasn't a risk taker, I wouldn't be here today. And that is the bottom line. Everything I've done has been a risk. It would have been very easy for me in the 90s when I come out of this girl band to just say, right, I'm going to do a 9 to 5. It would have been very easy for me not to try and get into presenting, which was completely foreign. It would have been easy for me not to mentor others. It would have been easy for me not to start the Red Carpet Academy. It would have been easy for me not to take many jobs going along. But the point is that my passion overrides everything. And I think even when you speak with me, you can hear my passion in everything I do. And if I don't act upon that passion, I don't feel right. My spirit doesn't feel right. I feel off in myself. I have tried to ignore my passion and it never works out. So I always say to people, go with your gut. Be serious. Obviously, don't just say, right, I'm going to quit my day job to go and see if I can fly kites to the moon. Obviously, make sure you're paying your bills while still pursuing your passion. If it doesn't have a direct link with your day job, be clever with it. Don't just do some crazy wild gesture and just say, I'm quitting everything and whatever. Be clever with it. But at the same time, absolutely, always pursue your passion. Do not be that person as an old person in your deathbed going, I wish I pursued my passion. and it's too late for me now. That is my worst thought, if I'm honest with you, Lily, and share that with you, that I would go to my, my dying day and say, I wish I did this and I wish I did that. No, I would take the risk and I would live by the sword and I would die by the sword. But whatever it takes, I'm going to be true to that fire that's burning inside of me.
All right. So, Daniel, I hope that answers your question. Live and pursue your passion, but do it smart. Take a smart approach to doing it.
Go for it. Go for it. Do it. Do it. Do
it. Oh, my God, Leah, thank you so much for being on the show. And so, where can people get a hold of you? Where can they find you? How can they connect in with you?
Right. Okay. So you can find me on all social media. I'm Leah Charles-King. I'm sure you'll be able to see all of those links on the Shine Out Loud show on your Instagram and Twitter and Lillian's as well. So you can find me, Leah Charles-King, on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. It's Leah Charles-King TV. I've got a website, obviously. I would also invite you, if you're interested, come and have a look at the redcarpetacademy.com. If you are, if you would like tips on how to present, to promote your business, your brand, then I actually have a free ebook that you can download from the website. You'll get immediate access and just go along there. And that's it. Just follow me, get in touch, say hello. And I hope to see you.
And I think they should go to the Red Carpet Academy because they can see me, see something, like I tell people, if at all this doesn't work out, I can always jack it in and become a model for Leah. That's what I'll do.
She is, absolutely. You are one of my best poster girls, actually. I have some great images of you that you have seen plastered across our new website. So thank you for that, at least.
You're most welcome. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Leah Charles-King, and she has shared her incredible story from depression to homelessness to, losing what most of us will think will be one of the things that will send us into spirals. This woman has gone from strength to strength, from childhood to adulthood. She has... Let me find the word. She has strived to be the best version of herself. And in doing so, she's created a business that is helping others break through their own personal glass ceilings and take center stage in their own lives. So, Leah, I want to thank you so much for being on the show tonight.
Thank you for having me. I'm so pleased that we finally got it together. And I hope I didn't bore you too much.
Not at all.
Anyone who's listening to this gets some kind of value out of it. And just thank you to you. And Lillian, you're an inspiration as well. I'm so glad you're doing this show. Even though, guys, I had to literally push her kicking and screaming. I'm still trying to encourage her to bring this show on screen. And if you agree with me, please message her and tweet her, because she is a brilliant presenter and you really should have this on screen, Lils. I will support you every step of the way.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And we are getting there. We're getting there slowly. And if you don't know, this is our last live show for the season. We'll be coming back in June, and there'll be some new surprises coming up. But all I can say is everyone who's shared with us all the way from January to now, thank you for being with us, and we love you. Stay connected with us on our social media, and it's gonna be fun, and the journey is just beginning. And Leah, we'll see you at the Red Carpet Academy.
Thank you. See ya. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Shine Out Loud show. If you want to connect with us or let us know what you thought of today's show, be sure to follow us on Twitter at Shine Out Show.